Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. Um, we've got a nice little episode here today with Shea Roberts from Vantage IRAs. Um, we've got a poll up there. Curious what brought you in here, so go ahead and fill that out. We just always like to understand who shows up to these things and how to better direct the the flow of this. So let us know why you're here and what you're looking for, and that will help us as we go through. Before we jump in, I just want to share a little bit about myself and what drives what we do. My name is Pete Schnepp. I'm the founder and CEO of Asset Stream Properties. And for the last 20 years or so, I've been in the real estate and construction world, buying and building and optimizing properties across Arizona and the Midwest. And through that journey, I've learned one powerful thing, that capital is really the most valuable lever in any deal. And it's where the biggest leverage and the biggest returns come from. So I found out that when you combine capital with smart strategy and strong partnerships, you can create something really cool, infinite returns, generational wealth, and really special things. But it starts with the capital. Our mission at Asset Stream is to be a river of opportunity. It's one of the reasons why we do these webinars for free, just trying to connect people with valuable resources. But through Asset Stream, what we do is we provide turnkey real estate investments that enable people to build wealth, achieve financial freedom, and live their best lives through using their capital and smart partnerships. Right now, I believe that we're in the bottom 25% of the real estate cycle, and I'm actively trying to acquire as much undervalued property as I can. And another thing that I believe is that the best results come from smart leverage and shared success. So I'm always looking to create win-win opportunities where investors benefit, I benefit, and any other partners benefit as well, including sometimes the sellers. So if you are an accredited investor and looking for alternative assets, I think you're going to find this valuable. Another thing that I think you might find valuable is something that I put on called the Deal Room. And this is an online session where we have quick Shark Tank style pitches from different operators in different asset classes with different investment offerings. Our next session is coming up in 2 weeks on December 4th. And I invite you to come check it out, whether you're a deal guy, an operator, or you're an investor looking for opportunities. I think you'll find a lot of value in it. Chelsea, if you wouldn't mind putting the link for that in our chat, that's coming up. But today we're talking about self-directed IRAs, which is really cool. And I've got my favorite IRA company here. I'm personally a client of them. Shea Roberts is an expert. She's my go-to. I send not only my investors to her, but my friends and my family, anybody that's interested in unlocking this, I call it kind of the secret of the wealthy that a lot of people really just don't know about. But Shea is the business development director over at Vantage IRAs, which is they're one of the leading self-directed IRA companies in the country. And what they do is they help people invest their retirement funds outside of the stock market. And if you weren't sure about that, yes, that's true. They don't have to be tied up in the stock market. So with a self-directed IRA, you can put that to work in real estate. You can be a private lender. You can invest in private equity, all kinds of cool stuff that nobody ever taught you about until now. So Shea's got over 25 years experience in consulting, education, real estate, client success. She's just a rock star. She was the national director for one of the biggest real estate brokerages in the country. And so she's got a blend of real estate and investor education, and she fills this role at Vantage really well. So she's passionate about helping investors understand what's possible with these IRAs and giving them confidence to make smart and informed decisions about their financial future. So with that said, I would like to introduce Shea Roberts, and you can take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Pete. Thanks for having me. Thank you for the nice introduction. I love talking about this topic. I mean, we all have a common thread, and then we're all trying to figure out money and finances in general, but kind of winning the money game or the retirement game. So I absolutely love what I do here at Vantage, and I'm so excited that you all are tuning in today to learn more about it. All right, can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, so yeah, we're gonna jump in. I know that thank you so much for filling out that survey. That was really helpful for those of you that did that. Um, there we go. There we go. So yeah, ultimately what we do at Vantage is to empower everybody to make the best choices for your financial future. And for some of you that maybe were here, I think there were quite a few of you here just to learn and see what it's all about. I think the majority of people just don't know that a self-directed IRA exists or really understand what it is. So I'm going to break it down in simple terms today. And hopefully you can leave here and be able to tell someone else about it and explain what we do. And hopefully you get really inspired to invest outside the stock market and maybe some of the deals that Pete can even give some insight on. But Vantage in general, this isn't about us. It's really about a self-directed IRA, but I'll just give you a little history that Vantage, to think about what Vantage does, we are an alternative investment company. We specialize in providing IRAs, the same government regulated IRAs that you might be familiar with. And maybe you have an IRA at a Schwab or a Fidelity, or maybe you have like an old 401k somewhere or a current 401k. Think of Vantage just like one of those other, more traditional custodians. However, our IRAs allow you to invest in anything outside of the stock market. So your Schwab, your Fidelity, your Merrill Lynch, all of those brokerages are limiting their clients to only stock market based investments, right? So in order to invest in something like real estate or private equity or even precious metals, those brokerages are not supporting those assets. And so you would need to have an account at a place like Vantage for you to be able to do that. So we've been in business for over 21 years, and we specialize just in this, providing a self-directed IRA to allow you to invest, in alternatives. We really understand how personal money is. And like I said, we're all kind of in this together. We're trying to find that financial freedom. And if you are attracted to some of these investment types and these assets that maybe you have more control over versus kind of dealing with the volatility of the stock market, this is a really great strategy for any of you who are interested in either holding real estate or private equity, or you think you can get a much greater return in the long run, versus what you could do in the stock market. So even if you're looking for that diversification in your portfolio, that's what we can help you with also. So I just kind of share this stat. This is really quite remarkable how much money, you guys, is tied up in retirement accounts in this country. 45, almost $46 trillion in retirement accounts. So that's totaled of IRAs, 401ks, 457s, all of those retirement accounts totaled up. That is a lot of money. 70% of Americans have a retirement account. So as from a young age, when whoever the adults are that are telling us we need to save our money, usually that equates to save your money in a retirement account. So that's what we do. And you can see here that 70% of Americans have some sort of retirement account, and 4 out of 10 households have an IRA. So specifically, an IRA that's either invested in the stock market or an alternative. So there's a lot of money to tap into there. And shockingly, only less than 1% of all of that money is invested in direct real estate purchase. So the opportunity is there. More people just need to understand and know that it exists. So that's what we're here to do, to talk about today, to address any of your questions about how does it all work? How do I know if I can do this? How do I know if I have a retirement account that I can move over to Vantage to do this? And what exactly does it all mean? So I'm also going to be opening up to Q&A at a few different sections. So Pete, you can also stop me too if you have something to
Yeah, I'll
throw in because you
interject
have
as we
really
go,
great
and
insight.
and
Yeah.
if anybody has questions, just drop them in the chat. I have a question.
Yeah.
You said alternative assets a couple of times. What do you mean by alternative? What does that mean?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes. So when we say alternative, we mean anything that's non-stock market related. So, like I mentioned, the Schwabs and the Fidelities of the world, they're considered more like a traditional financial institution, meaning stock market-based investments. So when we say alternative, it basically means the opposite. Anything outside of the stock markets. Thank you so much for stopping me there. So Vantage is an alternative custodian, an administrative, custodian for an IRA, whereas a Schwab or a Fidelity, they're more of like a traditional company. And this
Okay.
is, you stopped me at the right point because that's where I have it here. So here are the true definitions of what it is. So for to I always need to kind of dispel a little bit of a myth that a self-directed IRA is super complicated and it's really confusing. It's really not. It's the same IRA that you have at Fidelity or Schwab, but to the government, Vantage and Schwab are the exact same to them. We're just holding custody of your retirement account. So the only difference is this self-directed term that we put on the tag on the front of the IRA is just a way for us to kind of set ourselves apart from the more traditional financial institutions. And 25 years ago, when alternative investing really came onto the scenes, the high net worth clients, and you might hear some politicians in the media using their retirement accounts to grow billions of dollars and are holding real estate in their IRAs. That's when people really started to take notice and listen. But the reality is, the reason that most people have not heard about a self-directed IRA is that the government for 50 years, IRAs were created in 1974, and they never said that you could only invest in the stock market. But what happened was when they created IRAs to incentivize us to start saving for our futures and giving us that tax incentive, all of the banks and financial institutions that applied to be custodians so that they had the regulation and regulatory responsibility with the government, they were all financial institutions that had personal investment in the stock market. So guess what? That's the message that we've been hearing as Americans for 50 years, that a retirement account equals the stock market, and that's actually not true at all. So it's always, alternatives have always been allowed. It's just that the banks and financial institutions, like the big names that I just mentioned, they have the loudest voice in the industry. And a lot of us, myself included, we're not taught about investing. We're not, some of us don't grow up in households where, even talk about money in general, or it's like a taboo, and no one wants to admit that they don't understand it. So, we just kind of all assume that we all know the other person knows more than we do. And so we kind of just, go through life not asking a lot of questions. Maybe you even have a financial advisor, you let them do all of the citing for you, but it's our money. We worked so hard for it and we're saving our money. We should be able to do what we want to do with our money, right?
So
So
can you have both?
you absolutely can. Yes. So perfect example of, you know, what any of you can do is if you have a current 401k, I'm sorry, an old 401k, or you have a Roth IRA, or you have a traditional IRA, you could have multiple accounts kind of floating around out there at different financial institutions. You can transfer some or all of any of those accounts to a Vantage account to invest in non-stock market related assets. But most people do have both, Pete. So most people have a Schwab account, or maybe they have their 401k that's invested in mutual funds and stocks, and then they have a Vantage IRA that, again, same reporting to the IRS, but the Vantage IRA is going to allow them to deploy that money into non-stock market related assets. So the majority of people have both. We do have some
Mhm.
diehard clients who are anti stock market. They don't want to deal with the volatility at all. And they are very savvy investors, like Carol, for example, who was on the slide, previous slide. She moved all of her money in one of the downturns out of the stock market when she lost a bunch of money from her old 401k, moved over to Vantage, and she's grown her retirement from, not a lot to over a million in rental properties over the last 14, 15 years. So she's only has this as a strategy. We have a lot of clients that only have alternatives as a strategy, but most people have both, and you can. So I was just show this too here, and Pete, thanks for bringing that up. I truly am, want to show you here that the traditional brokerage or custodian has the same types of IRAs that Vantage has. Ours is just quote unquote self-directed, which means you can invest in alternatives. Some of you might say, well, Shea, I have a self-directed IRA already. I have a self-directed IRA at Schwab. And you might. The traditional custodians recently found a way to compete with us, right? To offer that
Mhm.
self-directed IRA, but you're still and truly, so yes, you are in the driver's seat with that self-directed IRA at Schwab, but you have a very specific menu that you can choose from, right? So still only stock market based investments that you can choose from. Where at
Mm.
Vantage, you can invest in anything you want outside of the stock market for the most part. So that's truly the difference, guys. They're structured exactly the same. They have the same contribution limits. They have the same rules and regulations that you might be familiar with when you go and speak with your accountant or your CPA about, when can I pull the money out of my retirement? What is the maximum that I can put in? All of that same language is going to apply to our accounts. Good. All right. So
Cool.
before I get into the all the investment strategies and how it works, I want you to just kind of get this part out of your mind so you're not worrying about it, that it is really a simple process. If this sounds like something you do want to do, it's really as easy as opening in an account Advantage. It takes 2 to 3 business days to open your account. And then I would assist you with moving funds from whatever account that you have. And I'll talk about the types of accounts in a second. But it's truly just moving the money from your current account over to Vantage with no penalties, no tax implications, no, no issues there. And then once the funds post your account, you can truly deploy those into any investment that you want. Just like if you have your list of options over at your current financial institution, they're ready to invest in whatever you want. So, and a lot of you answered the reason that you're here is you have curiosity about if one of your current accounts is actually compatible. Like, can you do this? I'm going to say right off the top, most of you, if you have an account, most of you probably can do what we're talking about. If you have any type of IRA, you can transfer all or a portion of those funds over to Vantage. If you have a former employer plan, whether it be a 401k, a 403b, a 457, you can have a former defined benefit pension plan, profit sharing plan. Anything that's a former plan can be rolled over or transferred over to Vantage, no penalty, no taxes. The one stipulation is if you're looking at your current 401k, let's say you're still working at that company, 99.9% of the time that employer has a verbiage, kind of baked into the plan that says while you're still employed at that company, you cannot move the funds over to either out or to another custodian without penalty. So it has to be most of the time a former plan, or if you have an existing IRA, it's a green light. It's very, very easy. Pete, do you have anything to add there?
No, I
Okay.
mean,
But you
yeah,
look like you had a question. That's okay.
I'm just always intrigued, but that was something that I knew. And I think it makes a lot of sense the way that you described it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, guys, this I usually tell my a little bit of my background at the beginning of the call, but I want to get into the investment strategies. I one of the reasons that I'm here at Vantage and I'm so passionate about what I do here is that I became a client here first. I was blown away when I learned that this existed. I've been friends with the CEO for 20 years and I never really quite understood what his business was. But when we sat down and chatted and he explained to me that, hey, Shea, you just left your employer of 10 years. I'm sure you had a 401k there, 401k there. I said, yes, I do. And he said, well, what are you going to do with that money? And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? I didn't even know that I had an option to move it to another custodian. I didn't know that I could invest it in anything outside of the stock market. So I would have just left it there invested in the mutual funds or whatever it was doing until someone told me that I could move it. So I think that's just the common thread that we all have is that just most of us don't know that that exists. So I became completely fascinated by it and moved my entire 401k from Fidelity over to Vantage so that I could invest in lending, real estate deals, anything outside of the stock market. And I became kind of obsessed with this topic, and now I'm working here. So, so I know firsthand how easy it is if you have a former employer plan. I went through the process myself. It's really simple. I just show these as examples that, again, just to kind of drive this in, if you have a current IRA anywhere, you can move a portion or all of it to Vantage to either diversify or go all in into, whatever alternative asset. And then again, if you have a former employer plan, you can move all or a portion of it over to Vantage with no penalty, no tax implications there. So pretty straightforward. Hopefully that addresses anyone's question. If maybe you're still kind of scratching your head and you have multiple accounts, feel free to put it into the chat, or you can even book a call with me after this. Send me a message. My cell phone and email are available to all of you, and I can go through your personal situation if you want. If it's a little bit more of a complicated scenario, I'm happy to help with that. So investment types, this is where a lot of you are here to talk about today. So these are, what I'm showing you here are just kind of the majority, or say the most popular assets that we hold at Vantage. This is not the complete list, but the majority of the assets that we hold for our clients are real estate related, whether it's you're investing in a real estate syndication, maybe it's like a real estate mutual fund. Holding a residential rental property is extremely popular because of the tax benefits of that. If you're using your retirement money to hold a rental property, all of the gains, all of that rental income is going right back into your retirement account. It's like your renters are paying for your future into your retirement account. So it's kind of cool. But you can anything real estate related. You can invest in land, manufactured housing, storage units, commercial, fix and flip. We have a lot of clients who are fix and flippers, and they use their retirement money or other people's retirement money, like mine. And then private entities. Private entities or anything you can think of. It can be a startup company. It can be your neighbor, your friend's company. It can be a private stock, private funds, private venture, limited partnerships, really anything private entity we can hold. And then private lending. I'll get into an example of that here in a few slides, but it means exactly that. You can loan anybody money out of your retirement account in the form of a promissory note, and you set the terms. You can say, okay, neighbor or friend, or someone that's
Or me.
some real estate investors, Pete, Pete, who are looking for, yeah, people he wants to borrow their money for real estate projects. It is an amazing strategy. It's what I personally do. It's more of a passive strategy, but you set the terms And it's a you know exactly where your money is, and yeah, it's really great. So
Well,
hopefully,
hold on a second. You said you can lend to everybody, but maybe it's a future slide. But I know that there's some rules that you can't do business, lend, or invest with anybody. What is it in your immediate family? Like I can't
yes.
invest in my wife's real estate deal, and she can't
Mhm.
invest in mine, but I can invest in my friends. Like what are the rules there?
Yes, exactly. So there are very specific rules that the IRS has put on our retirement accounts to prevent us from self-dealing, meaning that anything that we're doing with our retirement money should be investing in our future. We can't be personally benefiting from it today. So what that means is you can't invest with yourself. You can't invest in a company or a project that you own, nor can you do that with your spouse or anybody in your direct lineal descent. So, children, grandchildren, parents, grandparents, in laws, though the government looks at that as well, you're probably getting some personal benefit from that. So, that's a no-no. We have a really easy, digestible download on our website. I can even send to Pete, you can even include that in the recap email that you send. But it's basically what it is called is a prohibited transaction or a non-related party rule. But essentially, it's anybody up and down in your descent, yourself, your spouse, but it can be siblings, cousins, aunts, it can be step parents or a green light. So yeah, so those are really the only restrictions, but outside of that, yes, thank you for bringing that up. There really aren't many rules on this, guys, but those are the two main ones. If you're sitting here trying to think about how you can use your retirement account to like work the system and benefit personally, then you're probably maybe looking at this for the wrong reason. So just kind of keep that in mind that it truly has to be for investment purposes and not personal gain today.
Well,
Personal
yeah.
gain,
So
yeah,
like I think some people have like tried to toe that line. I remember reading an article last year or year before. A guy bought a bunch of gold bars with his self-directed IRA over the years, and he had them stored in his basement. And somehow it came to light, and his entire IRA blew up. Like all the gains, he had to pay taxes on everything because he was considered self-custodian by storing
right.
the gold in his basement through his
Yeah.
IRA, right? And so it's one of those things. There's probably a lot of people out there that enter that gray area, but that's a dicey role to do,
It
right?
is. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too. I mean, I'm sure there are so many people breaking the rule, not even knowingly. They don't know that they're doing it. But the repercussion is that, in the event that you're ever to get audited by the IRS, there isn't like an IRA police, by the way. There isn't a like specific retirement account division of the IRS that are going to come at looking at retirement accounts. It would be in the event that you were to personally get audited and that individual that was auditing you really were savvy enough to understand the rules of the IRA, and they wanted to look at your retirement accounts, and they saw that he had gold, or they saw that you've got a rental property. I mean, it's a lot of like down the rabbit hole kind of uncovering to be able to find yourself in that position. But the penalty is exactly what Pete just said, that they would forfeit your retirement account. So let's say you had that one IRA and you violated the rules in that one IRA, they would make you distribute all of that money to yourself and pay the taxes and a penalty on it. It's not like you would go to jail or anything, but but you're paying they just want their money, right? So
Yeah.
there's a penalty there. So oops, I forwarded too quick. So there are different ways that you can invest with your funds. Number one, we're going to use real estate as examples here. This works well for today. That your IRA can truly purchase 100% of the asset using all of it, the cash inside that IRA. Okay. You can also purchase it through an entity. So you can even have an entity within your IRA and purchase real estate there. or you can even kind of purchase an investment like a private fund investment. Let's say you want to invest $50,000 into a joint venture or an LP. um, Very easy to do out of your IRA. So very, very easy to do. And then leverage, you can also use your IRA can also use leverage and take out a loan. They'd be taking out a mortgage on, say, that rental property that the IRA didn't have enough money in to buy it straight out. So I'll give you examples on how all that works. So first, let's talk about a rental. So this diagram is kind of showing you the true flow of money. One of the other rules that the IRS has is that, again, where we're talking about that self-dealing, meaning you can't gain personally from these investments, you have to be very specific about the pockets of money that you have when you're dealing with, any sort of real estate. So example here that you have, let's say you have 350,000 in your IRA that you've moved over from a Fidelity account, and you've got your eye on maybe a cute little condo, a rental. It's 300,000. I know that's kind of tough to tough to find in our market these days, but it is out there. So let's say you have 350 in your IRA. You want to purchase the rental for 300. You're truly moving. We would be helping you facilitate the movement of funds to purchase that. We work with the title company and all of the real estate professionals that you would on a regular transaction. We're just signing the paperwork on behalf of your IRA because it's not you purchasing the property, it's your IRA. So on that deed is going to be the name of your IRA, not you. So it would say Vantage of, like this example here. I can't see it on my slide. I think it says Ian Investor that I've named him, but it would be not Ian as the owner. It would be the Vantage FBO Ian Investor traditional IRA on the deed. The really important thing here too, guys, is that money flow is going, so the renters are paying their rent back into the Vantage IRA, and then all of the expenses that you have on that property, let's say property taxes, utilities, maintenance, let's say you need to put some rehab into it before you can rent it out. All of that has to come from your IRA. You cannot dip into your personal wallet, put out your credit card, and pay anything on that property out of your personal money or maybe like your personal business account. That is a major no-no, the IRS. Again, it's not going to flag anything, but in the event that you were scrutinized in the future and they saw that you double dipped those pockets of money, you could have to forfeit your account. So really important here that you have reserve in that account. This example shows that this Ian, he's got 50,000 left in his IRA. There's no set rule that says how much money you need to have in there, but you just need to understand how much work and how much maintenance is going to need to go into the property because you can't use your personal funds for that. So just keep that in mind. So truly, it's
I
that,
think
guys.
the reality is to do this, hold a rental property directly in your IRA is a lot more cumbersome than it seems. Yes, it's possible, but like I own a lot of real estate. I don't own any directly in my IRA because the money flow has to happen through Vantage. Like I can't control the money flow, and there's so many things that I can't control. So the properties that I do own is through my real estate business, but when I invest in real estate through my IRA, I invest just with other operators because I don't want to have to deal with paying bills, having Vantage pay all my bills and getting that too complicated, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
doable, but there's a lot more behind the scenes to actually own a rental property. And then also getting leverage, getting a loan for an IRA is really, really tough. Banks don't want to do it. The ones that do charge you like a super premium. So like it's possible, but it's not that easy. That's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, there are ways, there is a strategy that people will follow so that they can have that control. It's too much for today's session, but it is possible, but it definitely, to Pete's point, it adds a layer of complexity for sure. And there are a lot of moving parts, but it is doable if that's something that is attractive. Um, most people were, and I'm excited to hear Pete's insight on these next two strategies, is that, if you want to invest in real estate, maybe you have no interest in having a rental property with all that responsibility and liability and all of that. You can invest in like co-invest into a real estate mutual fund, any sort of syndication that's much easier. Sometimes the risk is higher, right, Pete? Sometimes the risk is higher there, but the potential gains there are amazing. And all of those gains, guys, even the same on the rental property, all of that is going back into your IRA. Like if you sold that property and you it doubled its value, all of that money is going to go back in your IRA. Just like if you were to sell your Apple stocks and make a killing, all of that money is still in your IRA until you decide to deploy it into something else. So same thing applies to these investments we're talking about here, is that the money is going to go back into your Vantage IRA. And hopefully you're going to have a lot more than what you started with, right? That's the whole goal. So with a limited partnership, let's say this mutual fund is $100 million fund, and those investment sponsors are raising money and they want to, take your $50,000 into the fund. So it truly is that the 50,000 is going into the limited partnership. Whatever gains, whatever interest is always getting paid back to your Vantage IRA. And then when that matures or sells, you close out that investment. All of that money would be in your IRA to then deploy into the next deal. But this is a really great strategy. It's more of a passive, safer feeling strategy for people that don't really want to hold physical real estate. And then the next slide we're going to talk about is the lending piece of this for, again, giving you more flexibility, giving you more options with, less responsibility of holding, physical properties. Anyone have any questions on this part? Anything you want to add, Pete, here on? Because I know this is basically what you guys do, and the lending piece, which we'll get into, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm on both sides of this, and I think it's just the cleanest and easiest way. But as an operator, we do exactly this. We'll put together joint ventures or a syndication, and people invest with us through their IRA, whatever portion that is, and it's just they just get a percentage ownership in that entity that holds the real estate, nice and clean. And then on the other side, I use my IRA to invest with other operators as an LP or a joint venture partner, and I own a percentage of that entity. And that way, it's just nice and clean with the IRA. I know I'm not crossing any lines that I shouldn't be in terms of me managing things or having control over or personal benefit from it. And it's really like, I think IRAs are generally set up to be, passive, right? Like you shouldn't be managing it yourself. And so that's what it is. It's nice and clean. So I'm on both sides, and I think that's the easiest way to do it, but other people like to do it differently for sure.
Yeah, and I think another thing to point out too is that the beauty of this and being able to tap into this pocket of money that most of us are just, we're taught, well, it's there, but we can't touch it. We can't use it. We can't use it. It's not liquid. So that's what's really great about this strategy is that, if you're out to dinner and some of your buddies or your friends are talking about this private deal that they got into, and, oh gosh, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I mean, I'm paying for my daughter's college. I can't part with $50,000 or $100,000. I really want to get into this deal, but I can't. That's the beauty of using your retirement account, is that we can't use that money anyway. So there's until we're 59 and a half, right, without penalty. So it's, keeping that money working for you and being able to take advantage of some of these private opportunities that maybe we wouldn't do if we had to like write a big check out of our checking account that's going to go to our kids or something, or expenses
That's
on the
exactly
house.
it. Yeah, like I mean, my money's tied up in my deals, but
Mhm.
being able to take advantage of deals that other people put together, real estate and private equity that I get presented with, yeah,
Right.
it's a great use of funds with the IRA.
Yeah. It's just a different mindset. So it's amazing how many investment sponsors we work with or real estate investors who have clients that they have invested with them for years and years and years, but they're using their personal funds, they're using their liquid funds, and gosh, they're all their money is wrapped up in those deals, and they want to do more. Well, then when they realize that they could use their retirement account, well, now they were able to take advantage of another investment because that retirement account was just sitting there kind of idle, right?
Yeah.
So, so as far as the lending, we get a lot of questions on this, um, like is Vantage a private lender? No, we are not a private lender, but our clients are. They can be. So if you have an IRA with Vantage, you can loan your money to someone like Pete, to any investor who is wanting to borrow your money, and you truly are setting those terms. So you see the terms here, it's 12%, 180 days, and secured lien on a property. So this is an example of loaning your money to, where there's a real estate as the collateral, but it doesn't have to be a real estate loan. You can really loan your money to anyone as long as they're not on that naughty list that we talked about as far as like the family members. But this is a great strategy. This is actually personally what I do. I know the person that I loan my money to, real estate investor. I know exactly what property my money is being invested into. I could literally drive by it if I wanted. But you don't have to have that type of relationship. But that was just important for me to be able to vet and do my due diligence on who the person is and what their track record is. So those are just some of the things that you want to think about if you do want to loan your money to a company or to a person, to really understand who they are and see what kind of projects they're working on and what their track record is. But in this example, let's say you have 60,000 in your IRA, or you could even just have 50,000 in your IRA, and you want to loan 50,000 to someone else. And so the lender here, so the borrower here is Felix the Flipper. That Felix the Flipper is borrowing your money. 50,000 of that goes into the form of a promissory note. And then let's say that house gets fixed, it flips, it sells, and now you're getting $6,000 net gain back into the IRA. So they're going to pay you back your 50, you're going to get 6,000 net gain back in. So now you've got 56 in there, or 66 in this situation. And then you can do it again. So you could really compound your money 2 or 3 times in a year based on the terms of that note, right? So that's a lot of growth. I know the stock market's a lot of people's friends right now, but it won't always be. But that's typically a greater return, right, than what you can expect to see in your more traditional, financial institution investments. So this is a really great strategy. I think people are shocked when they learn that they can actually loan their money, and it is so straightforward in the sense that you're literally just loaning someone money for whatever terms you agree on, and the money goes right back into your account. So I was just asked this question, too, if so you might be sitting here going, okay, I understand what a self-directed IRA is. And I think I understand, what I can do with it. Really, it boils down to, do you want the ability to invest your money outside of the stock market? Really, it's essentially that. And if that's what you want to do, then Vantage would be happy to assist you. I would be assisting you with a new account and helping you with that process. Whether you have your eye on an opportunity or you need to go searching for an opportunity. I do want to cover here, you can see our fees are so straightforward. We go off of a very low flat fee model. We have an account setup fee of $50. That's just a one-time fee. Your account takes maybe 2 or 3 days to open. And then we just charge a $450 annual fee to oversee your asset. So regardless of the amount of money that you have in your account, regardless of the value of that your asset or even the return, it's truly just $450 for us to do that annual record keeping with the IRS and handle your transactions and paperwork and all of that. And then just a $175 transaction fee. So let's say when you loan someone your money in the form of that promissory note would be $175 for us to execute that. And then when it pays out or closes at the other end, then it's $175 when it pays off or sells. So it's as simple as that. I did want to mention too, in regard to all these different types of deals that we're talking about. I get this question a lot where, where's Vantage's role in this? Are you going to help me find opportunities? Are you going to help me find deals? We are, as an administrator of your account, there are regulatory requirements and rules that we need to follow, and we are actually not allowed to endorse or sell any products or endorse a specific company or put a menu of opportunities or real estate properties that you could invest in or anything like that. So we are not, you couldn't go onto our portal or anything and find a list of investments. But what we do is introduce you to people like Pete and work with other investors who have really great strategies and introduce you to some of these opportunities. And then it's up to you to, do your due diligence and decide ultimately what deal you want to invest your money in. So just wanted to make that clear too, that we're here as an amazing guide for you. We're really passionate about our service and answering all of the questions that you have about how all of it works, but we wouldn't be giving you advice on, what type of deal you should be doing or giving you financial or legal or tax advice either. We are truly like a neutral party here to facilitate your account and be your guide. But those are some of the restrictions there. I encourage you to go to our website after the call if you're intrigued. We have so many great resources. We have some videos, downloads, investment strategies that we talked about today. You can kind of get a little bit more into the weeds on how it works and hopefully get some inspiration there. But I encourage all of you, if you feel like you want to do this or this is really exciting to you, I can assist you with opening an account. I recommend that you don't wait to start the process. Let's say you know that you want to do this and you know you want to transfer money over, but you don't have, maybe you haven't solidified your deal yet or found the investment opportunity. Please don't wait until 2 or 3 days before you need to invest your money in this deal or maybe purchase a property or invest in a mutual fund. This process takes 3 to 4 weeks from start to finish. Sometimes it can happen in 2 weeks, but I always tell clients don't wait until the last minute to even save for your future if you haven't already. Hopefully you have retirement accounts. But get the ball rolling as soon as possible, whether it's saving more, contributing more, or opening your account. Because we are at the mercy of your current custodian and their transfer process. So I can get your account open in a couple days, but I can't control how long it's going to take for Fidelity to move your money over. So give yourself like 3 to 4 weeks to do all of that. What
Yeah.
else, Pete?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, my personal experience when I first signed up, it was several years ago, but I had a good friend who was using Vantage and he was in real estate and he kept telling me about it. Well, I think he mentioned it a few times. And I would look at the website and be like, oh, that's so cool. I should do that. That's so cool. But I never did because you're always just busy and it's one more thing to do. And then there's some little fees and it's like, I never got around to it. But it literally took me personally probably like 2 years from the time that I was introduced to the idea to the time that I actually said, screw it, let's just do it. And man, I just regret not doing it sooner because just like you said, once you do that, you realize like, oh, well, this opportunity that normally I would have said no to because my money is tied up or needed for other stuff. Now all of a sudden I can get in on that. And then like you get in on something and you get more opportunities presented to you because you're in that circle. Because a lot of investments, it's a good old boys club, right? That's just the reality of it. But once you start playing the game, and getting to know the right people, you get a whole lot more opportunities. And so, like for me, that was probably one of the lessons learned is like there's a little bit of friction anytime you change or start something new and a little bit of fees. Like there's some fees, but it's not much in the grand scheme of things. But once you do it, I realize I just got exposure to so much more, and it's been a great ride. Vantage has been a fantastic company to work with. So that was just a little bit of my experience in case that resonates with anybody listening. And we did have a question here in regards to if somebody wanted to do fix and flips, what does the liquidity or cash flow, cash control look like for a user? Maybe you can, I know that goes down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but the question was, do they get checks or a debit card, and how can they pay expenses if they wanted to do that? So maybe you want to touch on that. But the reality is there's more to learn than we have time for, and we put Shay's meeting link in the chat room. So if you're listening, just go ahead and schedule a call. But go ahead and touch on that, Shay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pete. Yeah, and thank you for sharing your insight about being a client. I hear that story every day from people that say, it took me a while to get it and understand it, and now I'm mad at myself that I waited so long to do it. But to answer your question about the fix and flip and how that money flow works, I encourage you to go to our website, and what you're explaining is the checkbook control IRA LLC. So it's the IRA LLC checkbook control. And essentially, what that's doing is, I would assist you with connecting you to someone that would help you create a brand new LLC, that your IRA is going to be the sole owner of, the sole member of. And then what we would be doing is moving the funds from your Vantage IRA, so from your trust account, into the bank account that you would set up attached to that IRA LLC. And that's where that checkbook control term comes into play. But you have now control over the funds and the money flow in that account. You would be able to pay directly out of that LLC bank account to the electrician and the plumber and all of the people that are doing the rehab on that property yourself without having to send an invoice to Vantage every single time, like Pete was saying at the top of the call, that it really removes us from that middleman position from an administrative perspective and gives you a lot more control. There's more responsibility on your part than, managing that account, making sure that you're not pulling any money out of that and using it for personal, or mixing any of your personal funds into that account. But it is a very popular strategy, and most people that have a rental, or if they are a fix and flipper, they're going to have that checkbook LLC, IRA LLC. Go to our website. There's some great downloads in there. Or if you want to, I don't see your name there, but if you wanted to contact me, I can do a private call with you and kind of break things down and explain through the visuals. There's a nice little graphic on the website, on the IRA LLC checkbook control page, that shows the money flow, like going into the LLC, into the bank account, and then into each asset. So that's definitely helpful to I'm a visual person, so I think that's helpful. Hopefully that
Nice.
helps. Okay.
Yeah, very
Thank
cool.
you.
Otherwise, Vantage sends the check or does a wire. So, like if
Right.
you're making a one big equity investment or a loan, Vantage will send that money, and then money coming back gets just deposited at Vantage. But that's like, when there's less transactions, and that's perfectly fine and easy, simple paper trail.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got a few minutes left. Any final questions?
Here's the website. Someone just asked.
Yeah,
It was on
it's
the
in the chat
previous
room,
slides, but yeah.
and also Shay's meeting link. And so there's more to learn. This is really a cool topic, and so I highly suggest you just book a call with Shay and learn more about it, see how it fits into your overall strategy. But otherwise, yeah, Shay, thanks a lot for coming on today. I mean, honestly, this is a topic that a lot of my investors are curious about. They ask about, friends and family ask about, and I've sent a lot of referrals over your way. So it was cool to be able to actually just do something live, and now we'll have a video that I can share with people instead of, telling them everything that I know about it. Say, watch this. But
Yeah, let me do the heavy lifting, Pete. I'll do
mm,
the explaining.
yeah.
Happy to.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time. You're truly an expert. So let's see. Lastly, before we go, just that, if you're curious about this and you want to see what kind of opportunities are out there, our deal room session is a cool place to check out different opportunities from different operators. That's coming up on December 4th at what time is it, Chelsea? I think it's 11 PST. We put the link in the chat room if you want to check that out. We've got some commercial real estate, some multifamily. I think we've got senior living, couple of cool things that are really, really nice opportunities. So check us out. Otherwise, you know what? I hope you guys all win today. So make it a great day, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much.